Hi everyone. Today we talk about empathy, one of the three key values of my system, together with compassion and courage. So empathy very often can be misunderstood with a sentiment or with a high level idea that we talk about. So to try to make it more concrete, I will try to explain it to you through four key examples. So the first one comes from Covey and his 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and is seek to understand before being understood. So what does it mean? It means that in everything we do, before trying to explain myself and before trying to convince someone of what we want to communicate, we should first understand others, understand the context, understand what and why and how things have been happening to us in this way, and why people are coming to us with this kind of approach to whatever is happening. The second one is again from Covey, and is thinking win-win. So win-win is very often misunderstood because we think about win-win and we think about compromising to try to make both parties happy in a negotiation. That's not the case. So win-win is a very specific approach that means that I need to know what win means for me, and I need to know what win means for the other party in the negotiation. And as soon as I understand that, I must find a way to get there for both parties. So there is always a way, a very tiny maybe niche or something like that, where both parties are winning. So it's not compromising, it's not reducing the expectation from our side to allow the others to be happy. It's not the other way around, asking for the others to change their request. Is truly understand what is at the core of what we want and what is at the core of what the other part in the negotiation wants, and then finding strategies to achieve both of them. So the third element is putting ourselves in the other person's shoes. Easy to say, much more difficult to do it. So what does it mean? It means that every time we receive an input of any kind of sort, or even the lack of an input sometimes, from a colleague, from our boss, from whoever, the first thing to do is trying to understand the context from their point of view. Okay, so why this request is coming in this way, in this form, at this moment of time? Why instead the feedback is not coming? Why is I'm not getting the kind of response that I'm asking for, not in the time that I want, not in the form that I want? So before getting frustrated because of what we need, let's try to understand the context for the other person. So if we think about how many times we feel busy, we feel frustrated, we feel that we can't cope with everything, let's try to just put all of these thoughts into the other stakeholders. So why wouldn't they be busy? Why wouldn't they be in a complex situation? Wouldn't be they frustrated by some sort of situation? So let's put all our thoughts, emotions, so everything that makes our day, let's make sure that we project it in our counterparts, in our colleagues, in our friends, in our whatever, because they are human beings as well. So, and in whatever situation in which we are interacting with someone, let's start with thinking, okay, what if I would have been in this situation? What if I would have had this responsibility? What if I would have had this kind of job? So let's assume that we are the counterpart. Okay, so if I am in this role, what would be my priority first? What would be my second? Who would I be in this relationship? So let's try always to do a role-playing game, and let's put into other person's shoes before reacting to anything. The last bit is appreciating that the message that we send is not necessarily the one that our counterparts receive. So what does it mean? It means that in communication, as a general principle, somehow, honestly, as a quantum mechanic principle, a principle of reality, the message that we send out to the world or to our colleagues or again to anyone is not necessarily what they receive. So we are in control somehow of what we try to say. We are not in control on how they interpret the message. So this is extremely important because it means making sure every time that we do everything is possible to make our message clear for the receivers, not for us. It's not important that we believe that we sent the message in the clearest and possible way, but is the message I tune and I try to develop and communicate the message for the specific responder. So if I know that someone struggles to understand something, let's change the way in which I send it, because we are interested in the end result. The end result is sending across my message. So it's not, we don't have to expect that others will try to interpret our message. We need to tune and change our approach in order to send what we want to do. So in general, what do I mean with empathy? Empathy is this mindset, this that really happens every single time we interact with anyone in the office, but not only, honestly, in which our first thought, whatever happened, before we process, before we react, before we do anything else, is stopping for a second, being mindful, being self-aware, and understand that there is someone else at the other end of the chain, because someone else is a human being, and like us, has got all the characteristics and the problems and the skills and everything that we have. So if we adopt this method and we stop just for a second and we let our first thought to be, okay, why is this happening this way, and who is sending this? What are the reasons why this is happening this way? This really gives us a head start in terms of developing relationships that matters and being effective in what we want to do. Okay, so in the next days, compassion and courage to close the chapter on values of my system. Thank you as always, and see you soon.